Federal Republic of Nigeria rattled as a result of the activities of the indigenous people of Biafra. A lot of people thought that Nnamdi Kanu and the comrades weren't doing anything, as they expected only violence to be the way out of Nigeria. But gone are those days. We live in a more in a generation where things are done differently. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has released a document it submitted to the United States Department that triggered panic in the presidency. They accused the indigenous people of Biafra they accused them of engaging in international propaganda, accusing the federal government of persecuting Christians. IPOB's submission, entitled Nigeria, A History of Serial Genocide and the Urgent Need for the United States Intervention, presented by IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on behalf of the group. This drew the attention of the United States to the alleged violent Islamization that is taking place in Nigeria against Christians and Jews, especially of Biafran extraction by the Buhari's regime. The group had warned that the Islamization agenda is capable of causing another genocide in Nigeria, and as it is over 50 years ago, ahead of the Biafra war, and this, they believe, is not something that they are ready for. It is better we break apart. Now, the federal government of Nigeria, in response to this, using Garba Shehu, they said that there is no persecution of Christians, and that IPOB is just using the persecution as a front, as a propaganda, in order to achieve Biafra. Either way, the North, predominantly Muslims, the Middle Belt and the South of Nigeria, predominantly people that do not have Islamic fanatical beliefs. Simple. Now, if you are divided by religion and some other people that are part of you do not want to obey the rule of law and they want to have a Sharia law and different law, it's simply put, they've already said, we want to be by ourselves, we want to be alone, or we want to dominate you. As you can see, they are not planning to be by themselves. They are rather planning on dominating others with their own religion, fanatical religion, retrogressive religion. What's happening there in the North? They have a different law, and they are trying to push Sharia law all over Nigeria. I'm going to go through what was submitted to the United States, submitted to the United Kingdom, and also submitted to the European Union. As shall be demonstrated, this Islamization is by both state and by non-state actors that enjoy the patronage and tacit support of the state. It is such that may lead to another genocide that will offend the conscience of nations, including particularly the United States, which possesses the singular capacity to intervene with lasting solutions, IPOB warned. The group also told the United States Department that Nigeria is an oil-rich country and a regional power in West Africa, and a multi-ethnic and multilingual country with a population of about 180 million people, with three major ethnic groups: the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausa, and popularly known as the Hausa Fulani, and 250 other smaller ethnic groups. The Hausa Fulanis are predominantly Muslims, and they live in the northern Sahelian part of Nigeria. The Yoruba live in the southwest, are split almost evenly, almost not 50-50. Let's just use, let's say, the percentage between the Muslims and other faith. Even though some of the Muslims, they are, here and there. Some of them probably they have Christian wives and all of that. They are not fanatical. You have, let's put them in the range of Muslims in Nigeria, in the southwest amongst the Yorubas. Let's put them let's say 30%, while the rest, or 35, either way. Yoruba Muslims profess a moderate form of Islam as opposed to the more fundamentalist Sunni practice observed in the northern part of Nigeria, and from which the sect, the terrorist group, Boko Haram and Fulani Herdsmen Islamic terrorist group emanated from. There is a small Shiite minority amongst the majority Sunni Muslims that are ruling Nigeria. The Shia Muslim is headed by El Zaki, and he is in jail with his wife. He's being persecuted. They claim that he's more of a violent sect and that theirs is better, but their own group brought what they call terrorists into Nigeria. The Biafrans, the centerpiece of this submission, inhabit the southeastern part of Nigeria with a population of over 70 million. About 50 million of them, the Igbos, speak the Igbo language and are predominantly Muslims, but with a rapidly growing Jewish minority. And of course, they have few Muslims, let's say 2-3% Muslims in the southeast of Nigeria. Their land is blessed with human and mineral resources, including hydrocarbons. Biafrans are very commercially inclined, industrious, and are given to scholarly and professional pursuits. They have an established democratic institution even before colonization by the British. They are very republican and egalitarian in nature and coexisted peacefully with their neighbors prior to colonization and their amalgamation with the rest of Nigeria in 1914. Noting the injustice the Igbo race Biafra has been going through allegedly in the hands of Hausa Fulani, IPOB recalled what they went through during the 13-month civil war when a total of 3.1 million Igbo people were murdered between 29th of May 1966 and 12th January 1970. IPOB added that had Biafra not unilaterally declared its independence in order to protect itself, the massacre would have been incalculable. Most Biafrans, especially the Igbos, were slaughtered in their homes, offices, businesses, schools, colleges, hospitals, market, churches, shrines, farmlands, factories, industrial enterprises, children's playground, town halls, refugee centers, car, lorries, and at bus stations, railway stations, and airports. In the end, the genocide was enforced by Nigeria simultaneously pursued land, area and naval blockade, and bombardment of Biafra land, Africa's highest population density region outside the Niger Delta. In other words, even in their own heartland where they had taken refuge, they were pursued and eventually subdued. The excuse then, as it were, was that Nigeria was persecuting the war of reunification. On the contrary, there is quantum evidence that the war was provoked in order to accomplish the genocide that had begun against Biafrans generally and Igbos particularly. The difference this time was to take each to their homeland where they had fled and taken refuge under the defunct Republic of Biafra, the group submitted. On the struggle of actualization of Biafra, IPOB said, "We are aware of the propaganda emanating from the Nigerian government and northern Nigerian Islamic fundamentalists aligned with the government that the neo-Biafran struggle for self-determination is an ethnic backlash against President Muhammadu Buhari just because he is an Hausa Fulani Muslim. We state unequivocally that this is false and petty. The truth is that the post-war struggle peaked in mid-2015 when Mr. Buhari systematically embarked on his jihadist policies, coupled with his open toleration of Fulani herdsmen terrorists that had simultaneously commenced an intense ethnic cleansing of Christians, including Biafrans. This was also immediately following a well-publicized comment by Buhari during his campaign for the presidency that an attack against Boko Haram is an attack against northern Nigeria Muslims. Little wonder then that Boko Haram terrorism has peaked to a new height since Buhari's presidency. In the face of Mr. Buhari anti-Christian posturing and his complicit inaction to rein in on herdsmen and Boko Haram, Biafrans responded by organizing themselves under a group named the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, a devout Jewish adherent of dual Nigerian and British citizenship. Now, there is nothing to analyze here. There's nothing to say here. All this that you have heard has already said itself. Buhari, as it is, will go down history as the most useless, most wicked, and the most timid, clueless president to rule Nigeria, said somebody. He will also go down in history as a president who single-handedly hastened the disintegration of Nigeria. God bless Nnamdi Kanu and his efforts to rescue his people from imminent extinction. Since the federal government failed to point out any section of the submission that is false propaganda, the whole message of IPOB stands unchallenged, and as a result, the only truth is as simple as ABC. God bless Biafra, and God bless all the freedom fighters.